Grace and peace. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is Pastor Pimpong. Today is the 5th day of the 7th month, that is July 2019. Can you imagine what God has done? He has carried us all this through how many? 6 months, and we are in the 7th month. God has done it all. He has given you life. He has given me life. Giving us fresh air to breathe, sunlight to warm our bodies, rain to refresh us, fresh air to breathe. God has done everything, giving us all that pertains to life. My beloved, He has given us all that pertains to life. There is not a single reason why you and I can say we are not going to thank God. We don't have any excuse to be grateful to God. Okay, we don't have any excuse to show gratitude to God. You don't have to have $1 million in your bank account. Neither do you have to even have $10 in your bank account to be grateful to God, or for that matter, $1 or 1 CD or 1 naira, 1 pound sterling, for that matter. You know, whatever you are, you can use the currency. You don't have to have any of those things in your bank account to be grateful to God. All that you have to look at and to show gratitude is the fact that you are alive today and I'm alive. Okay, the fact that you have your functions, every part of your body is functioning. Whatever you are lacking, whatever you have, somebody somewhere may be lacking that. So we have to show gratitude to God for whatever we have. And it's called contentment. When we are content, we will show gratitude. So let us be thankful, rejoice, and give glory to God for what He has done for you and I. Listen, He has carried us for 186 days. 186 days on His wings like an eagle. Oh, God is so gracious. He's so merciful. In spite of your truancies and my truancies, in spite of our hypocrisies, in spite of all that we do, the many times you and I have crucified Jesus Christ, back and back with our stubbornness, our rebelliousness and all that, He still continues to supply to you and I our daily need. Let us show gratitude to God and be abundantly thankful to Him for what He has done. My beloved, would you join me in doing that? The Lord is good. He is good all the time. Let us show Him our gratitude. Beloved, I want to share with us today from the book of 2 Samuel 15 and 1 Kings chapter 1, 2, and 3. Today we're going to talk about David's house. Okay? Remember, Nathan told David that the sword will not depart from your house because of what you did to Uriah. Killed Uriah, took his wife. God said that the sword will not depart from your house. And from that instant, it has continued. There has been Absalom kills his brother, and on and on. You have Abner, what he did, and Joab, all the things that they did in the house of David. In chapter 15 of the 2 Samuel, Absalom arrogated to himself. In fact, he anointed himself as king. He took over. He almost overthrowing his daddy. And that thing resulted in a war, a battle. In that battle, Absalom died. You know, he was killed by Joab. He was caught by branches of the tree, an oak tree. And Joab drove a spear through his heart, killed him with his servant. Joab's servant also. And they killed Absalom. So the blood, the sword, is still, is still raging in the house of David, the prophet. When a true prophet prophesies, it comes to pass. You know, contrary to what we have today, people roaming the streets, calling themselves prophets. I call them try and error men. I don't even want to give them that kind of title of a prophet. Try and error. Using try and error method, and people are following them, you know. The true prophet, Nathan, spoke, and it came to pass, and it kept on. He said, the sword will not depart. So in 1 Kings chapter 1, the Bible tells us that David was old and didn't have heat. So they have to find him a virgin. And they found that in Abishag. Oh, I pray that our young girls, our daughters, and the ladies who call themselves Christians will be found like Abishag, a damsel, Abishag, who was a virgin. My beloved, if you're a young lady watching me, okay, keep your virginity, okay? For the King, Jesus Christ, wants you. He wants to come and dwell in your heart. Keep yourself like Abishag kept herself, and she was found and given to a king. For every virgin, every one of us who keep ourselves pure, every young lady, you keep yourself pure, you keep your virginity. God will give you, He will give you a king. And when I'm talking about a king is somebody who has also kept himself pure, a faithful man. He'll give you that kind of man to marry you. So keep yourself pure. Abishag was found for David, to keep David warm. And the Bible tells us that David never knew her. She only was there to perform the function of warming, keeping the king warm, but they never had any sexual intercourse or anything. So she was a virgin. Okay? In the meantime, Adonijah, who was the son of Haggith, one of the brothers of Absalom, because Absalom was the son of Haggith, Adonijah took upon himself, recognized that the father was old. He decided to become king. He made himself king, arrogated to himself the title of a king. Can you imagine that? And he took a whole lot of people after him. They went to another place. He went to coronate himself as king. He took with him Abiathar, one of the priests. Joab, the nephew of David, also went with him. Now you see how Joab has been a problem? Now you see the blood again. Joab took upon himself. He followed him and a whole lot of other people. And they went with Amasa, also went. Amasa didn't go. Amasa didn't go with them. But all those people went. They didn't call Zadok. They didn't call Nathan. They didn't call Amasa. All those who they left them. No. Amasa even has been killed at this point because Joab killed Amasa. So Amasa has been killed. So they went, and Nathan saw what had happened. So Nathan called the wife of Uriah, Bathsheba, who is Solomon's mama. Called Bathsheba. I said, Bathsheba, have you heard what has happened? Bathsheba said, no. I said, well, this is what has happened. Adonijah has gone and crowned himself as king. So I want you to go into the house and talk to David and ask David, didn't you promise to make Solomon king after you? How come that Adonijah? And she went and did that. And David said, oh, wow, is that what has happened? Okay, fine, look, call me Nathan. So Nathan, he said, while she was talking, Nathan said, while you are talking, I'll come in. So while she was talking, Nathan also came. And Nathan confirmed the matter. Immediately, David sent to call Zadok. And all this who they came in, and David instructed them what to do, that they have to go and get the mule that he rode as king, and they have to bring cows and also bring Solomon to Gihon and make Solomon king, and Solomon has to sit in his chair. So they did that, and they all made a big proclamations. God saved the king. David himself laid his hands on Solomon, and Solomon became king. As soon as the people heard the loud shout, Jonathan, who was the son of Abiathar, had come, and he came and told Adonijah what had happened. Fear came upon all of them. So they fled. The people who were with Adonijah, they all left. Adonijah was alone. Now he came, he ran and took hold of the altar because he was afraid. It wasn't happening to him. He was saying that he wouldn't get off until he gets a commitment from Solomon that he will not kill him. Solomon told him, well, I won't do it as long as you show yourself to be very honest. let him go. But then Adonijah came back. Adonijah came and talked to Bathsheba. Said, Bathsheba, can you tell Solomon to give me Abishag? So all the time, all the while, his eyes has been on Abishag. He wants the kingdom. He wants Abishag to be his wife. Can you imagine that? He comes to ask Solomon for Abishag, and that really enraged Solomon. So Solomon said, God, he said, Mama, is that what he said? Okay, fine. Why don't you give him the kingdom too? Because that's what he's looking for. He said, look, if this man, God, do so to me, if I don't get rid of this, my son, my brother. So immediately he ordered that somebody, they go to fall on him and they kill him. The sword has not departed from the house of David. Adonijah is killed. And as soon as Joab heard that Adonijah has been killed, he runs, flees to the temple and load the altar, the temple, because he knew what he had done. Well, they had to go and kill him too, because he said, won't come down, that's where he wants to die. So that's where he was killed. So you see, and then Shimei, and on and on. So you see, just to see, when a prophet speaks, a true prophet, it comes to pass. Nathan, today we have too many false prophets, self-appointed prophets, false prophets, using try and error method. And even the prophecy, everything has to do about money. Nothing about holiness or righteousness. It's everything about money, material things. And they call themselves prophet. These are pillow prophets and belly prophets and pocket prophets. That's what they are. Okay? But Nathan, the true prophet, and most of the other prophets, Jeremiah, those are the men that we look up to when they speak and a prophet speaks, it comes to pass. And theirs is not for vainglory or for self-adulation or self-aggrandizement. No, it is for the glory of God. So now let's talk about Adonijah, that Adonijah spirit and Absalom spirit. My beloved, all these Jews appointed themselves as pastors, or they appointed themselves. There are too many of us walking around, calling of us again prophets, self-appointed pastors, self-appointed bishops, and on, messing up the work of God. The people that God has chosen. In the book of Jeremiah, it says, these people go when I have not sent them. Talking about the false pastors and false teachers. Adonijah, the people with Adonijah's spirit, the people with Absalom's spirit, who run when God hasn't sent them, who take on garments that don't belong to God, that they never came from God. They have coronated themselves as pastors, messing up the work of God, sugarcoating God's word, preparing so many for hell instead of for heaven, have made people's hearts so gross, heavy with sin, teaching them material things, worldly things, taking their focus off Christ and the cross, taking their eyes off heaven and hell, all that they talk about. Oh, God is love, grace, and that is all there is to. Not knowing that grace is expensive. Grace costs the blood. Grace, the cost of grace is Jesus Christ, his sacrifice. And so God, he says, do not abuse grace. He says, shall we sin because for grace to abound? No. Grace is there to keep us from sin. Adonijah, the spirit of Adonijah and the spirit of Absalom, which is working in the hearts of many today, causes us to take things into our hands and try to speak as though we are speaking on the behalf of God when it is not. My prayer for all of us today, that we will not be led by the spirit of Adonijah, or the spirit of Absalom. Those who arrogate to themselves, they will not wait on God. They rush to become what God has not called them to be. Okay? They rush because they see, looking out from outside, they say, wow, I would love to be king. It is nice to be king. Oh, I would love to be the pastor. I would love. Because all that they are thinking is about how they might make money, how people pay homage to them, how people call them pastors and all those kind of things. So that's all that they are looking at. They're not looking at the fact that there's a responsibility. You know, in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 3, it talks about if a man desires the office of a pastor or a bishop, it's a good thing. However, you have to know that it comes with responsibility, and they lays all the responsibility down. We ignore those, and we just want to become, because we are so title crazed. Absalom wanted that. Adonijah wanted that. It landed them in destruction. There are so many walking dead men today, walking dead pastors, walking dead bishops, walking dead prophets, walking dead apostles. Why? Because we arrogated to ourselves that which God hasn't assigned to us, and we have made a mess of the work of God. And so now the noose hanging around our neck is the noose of death. My friend, it is my prayer, that you and I do a thorough self-examination. Ask yourself, have I been called? Did the Lord actually call me? What message am I preaching? Am I communicating, watered down gospel just so that I can make more money? Have I turned the house of God into a factory of customers where the people who are there are just customers as opposed to souls that that Jesus Christ has died and shed his blood for? Have I turned the house of God into a factory where we churn money, a money churning place? Every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Monday, every whatever, it is all about money. So we can have service Monday through Sunday. Or even on Sunday, we have our 7 services, all pointing towards raising money. Okay, so every message has to be, structured around making people feel good. Tell them what they want to hear so we can get into their pocket. That is Adonijah's spirit. That is Absalom's spirit. And beloved, the Lord wants us to turn away from that. Seek. If you have not been called, my friend, don't call yourself. Read the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23. Jeremiah 23. Okay? Jeremiah 23. Read it and see what God is saying in Jeremiah 23. He said, these people say I've called them, but I have not called them. If they will wait, it says, if they should wait on me, then they will know what exactly I want the people to hear. But they go, each person stealing, people stealing each other's dream and saying that this is what God has said when God hasn't said it. Stealing other people's messages and say this is what God gave to them. Go on YouTube, go online and stealing messages, and preaching it. That is not what God, for every Sunday, every day, God has a message for his people. And the people whom God has called, they wait on God and they ask God, God, what do you have your people to hear? Because it's not what you have to say, it is what God has to say. It's not what I have to say, it's what God has to say. And it is important that I wait on him. And if you and I have not learned how to wait on God, to hear from God, to tell the flock, because the flock need to hear what God has to say to them, not what they want to hear, but what God has to say. My beloved, that is it. The difference between the one that God has called and the one that is carrying the spirit of Adonijah and Absalom. Which spirit is controlling you? Romans chapter 8. So as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. And as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the men that God has called to carry his message. Are you being led by the Spirit of God? Are you saying what God wants you to say, or what you want to say, or what your denomination want you to say? Your denomination, what they want to say. Okay? No, that's not what it's supposed to be. It is what God has to say. And every day God has a message for his flock. Okay? Anyway, this is Pastor Pimpong. Go back and read 1 Kings chapter 1, 2, 3. Read it. 2 Samuel chapter 15 and on your knees prayerfully, and let God reveal to you things. I love you, but there is one who loves you the most. His name is Jesus Christ. He died for you. Listen to him and do his will. God bless. Bye-bye.